everybody, and welcome to the Circles and Squares News Report for Monday, December 20th, 2021. I'm James, and that's Katie, and that makes this the Circles and Squares PlayStation podcast. And it's our news show, Kate. But first of all, I just wanted to say, happy holidays. It's our last show before the Christmas break. I know we do have one more show coming out, I think, before the end of the year, right? But, this one and one more. But still, it's important to say, happy holidays, Merry Christmas for those who celebrate. I'm really getting into, I was going to say I'm getting into the Christmas spirit, but realistically, I feel like I've just got so much going on. I don't know how you're feeling, but it's sneaking up so fast.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I'm finally on, vacation from school, which means I'm just working more. So it's not really a vacation. Yeah. But it snowed a couple times. I, looked at everyone's got Christmas lights up. So I'd like to say I'm in the festive holiday spirit. But maybe once I finish my Christmas shopping, I'll feel better.
Oh, God,
I went to do some yesterday and bought myself 4 books. So far, Christmas shopping, very successful.
Very successful. I think that counts as a success.
Yes, man. I think so.
Well, speaking of other successes, guys, we had a couple of episodes come out that I just want to promote recently. Number one, of course, every Monday we have our regular show coming out, the Circles and Squares podcast, which our last episode was our recap of the Game Awards, and it was a lot to talk about. I think it was nearly a 2-hour show, so go give that one some love if you have any interest in hearing a recap and what we thought of everything shown at the awards, all the winners, all that good stuff. And you can also check out our second episode of the Circles and Squares Extra podcast, which came out earlier this week, and we were joined once again by our friend, good friend Nick from the Loud Thumbs podcast to talk all about Halo Infinite. He has a lot of cool Halo collectibles he was showing off on the show, yeah. So definitely one to look at on YouTube as well, but very interesting. I think we had a good chat about the game as well, so give that one a listen if you're interested. And then moving forward, coming out next Monday, a week from today, we have our final show of the year, which, I would say we do every year, but realistically, this is only our second time.
That still counts.
It still
That's
counts.
Every year.
It still counts.
We haven't missed one.
That's right. So at the end of the year, our last show, as always, this is the second annual Circles and Squares Awards, where we go through and, do a little bit of an inventory of what we've played throughout the year, hand out some fun awards, most innovative mechanic, our personal game of the year, our favorite PS Plus game of the year, a few other things as well. So it's just fun to go back and reminisce. We've played a lot of stuff this year. I feel like we look back and it's like, holy shit, how did we fit all this stuff in? But somehow we do, and it's fun to reminisce about it a bit. So look forward to that next week. But for now, Kate, we got a lot of news to talk about, so let's get right into it. And our first story comes from the PlayStation blog, which is something we've been talking about and a lot of PlayStation people have been talking about for a while. The PlayStation 5 is so ripe for customization with these side panels, a lot of cool customizations on different third-party sites you can get, but PlayStation has finally come out with some new colors for the side panels as well as matching DualSense controllers, and it's a lot of cosmic kind of spacey colors. Here we have a teal blue, a pink, a purple. It's very much like that, space kind of vibe. But anyway, what do you think of the colors? You interested? What's your thoughts on all this that's come out?
I think they're pretty cool. I like them. It's kind of nice to get something a little different than just your standard white, black, gray. So I like the bold choices. I think personally, and I know you're in the same position. I think we've both agreed that what we really want to see is more minimalistic pictures, something from a game. I want to see the Ragnarok symbol for God of War. I want to see some Carol runes or the Hunter's logo from Bloodborne. That's the kind of thing I want for my PlayStation. So the colors don't do it as much for me, even though I definitely think some of these look pretty nice.
Yeah, I like them too. I'm kind of in a weird place with this type of customization stuff in general, where I want something that's branded, but I don't want it to be so loud and obnoxious, I like it when it's subtle and kind of just there's a little logo on there, but if you didn't really pay a ton of attention, it's kind of, you wouldn't always necessarily recognize it, that kind of thing. And I feel like that's so hard to come by with stuff like this, because a lot of the designs you see are very, very elaborate and very intense and all that. So you either have the plain colors,
or they've got they've got the name plastered all over. And that's what I meant with minimalistic. I just want the Hunter symbol, or I just want a couple cool Carol runes, or I want just the Ragnarok circle, but I don't want it to say God of War Ragnarok all over it.
Exactly.
So,
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting though. So I mean, I don't know if are you planning to look into any of these or the controllers at all? I feel like I would be more inclined to maybe buy one of the controllers instead of the panels.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think panels because I think I would be more likely to just buy like a sticker to put on
Mm.
my like the current just white panels because that kind of fits with the look I want more. But I definitely could see myself buying one of the controllers because I don't have a second controller yet. It's a good thing to have. These are quite cool. I really like, I think the one I want is that kind of like cosmic red.
Oh, you like the red one? I was going to ask which
I
was your
like the
favorite.
red one.
Yeah,
I
I
think
think
they're all pretty neat, but I like that red one a lot.
yeah, it's nice. I feel like I like the teal blue one the best. But
Okay.
I mean, I'd have to see it in person, right? Like the thing with they're all pretty sharp. Like I like the shades they're going for are nice. Like that's for sure. I think that if anyone bought one of these, I feel like in person they're gonna look even nicer. Just
Hmm.
just from the way it looks.
Yeah, especially with like the texture of the PS5 controller. Like I think that will look really nice in color.
Yeah, yeah. I just really hope that they've proven now that they have the resources to print some different kinds of styles. What is stopping them from just letting you go full on and like customize it yourself, kind of like Xbox we've talked about before does that design labs wise, and there's things like Colorware and like those other third party sites. Like there must be a way for Sony to do this. I would love nothing more than to be able to like pick my own colors, design my own panels like right from Sony. I mean, I think I've even said that before on the show multiple times, but I just really want to do that. I would do that like first day if they let us do that one time.
Oh, absolutely. Like you said, it's like such a no-brainer. Like this is a great first step, but like don't do it halfway. Just put them out. Like there's
Yeah,
no
yeah,
reason not to.
exactly,
Um,
exactly.
yeah. If I had one little nitpick for them, and it's so small and insignificant and specific, but I really wish you could change the color of the light on the controller because it's
Mm,
always that blue light and it's nice and I like it especially with like the white controllers that the console came with, but I don't want blue with the red controller. I don't think that's as nice of like an
right,
accent
right,
color.
right.
And so like it's such a small tiny little thing, but I'd love to change that blue into a different color. So that's
Yeah, like
kind
a
of what
whole new
I
level,
want most.
a whole new
Yeah.
level of customization. Yeah, like they should
Yeah.
like when you plug it into like your computer or whatever, and you have that program. I don't know how that works. We're getting off topic,
Yeah.
but yeah, I know what you mean though. Yeah,
We
you know, it'd be
need some
really cool.
RGB.
We need some
Gamers love
RGB.
RGB.
If
That's
there's,
all we care about. We like clickety clackety keys and RGB.
oh man, oh man. So yeah, I guess, I mean, I don't really have a whole lot more to say about this. Have you seen the price?
Mhm.
That's the one thing I haven't been able to find too much information on. And I'm even just Googling it right
I
now, but I can't seem to find any details about this.
No, I haven't seen it either. I've not been able to track it down.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, I imagine they're probably like 60 or 70 bucks, judging by what you'd expect for something like this, but who knows?
Easily.
Maybe we'll wait and see what happens there. Let's talk about our next story, though, Kate. Those panels can be left for now. Maybe if we buy some in the future, we'll show them off on the show. But some interesting news coming out from Sony first party studios. PlayStation Studios has picked up another member of the team here, Valkyrie Entertainment. Although they are not going to be making their own game right away, as they are going to be supporting Santa Monica Studio with the development of God of War Ragnarok, which is some interesting news here. I don't know if they had any supports with making the first God of War, but I mean, to me, bringing in a second support kind of team is just maybe commenting a bit on the scope of the game, like, working on making it a bit bigger than what the first one was. But yeah, what are your thoughts? Have you looked into Valkyrie too much? What do you think?
Yeah, this is kind of neat. I mean, I don't know. I feel like I'm in a bit of a blank on this. Like I've never really heard this happening, but looking into it, it's like, well, I'm sure this happens all the time.
Yeah.
With various games. It looks like they're kind of helping more on like the art side of it, like doing like in environment design and like potentially like character art and stuff like that. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
think
really
they said
sure
that.
what to expect.
I think they said they're doing a lot of like the environments and whatnot. So that could be, yeah, it's interesting. They did a game called Guns Up as their only other game I can see on their page here. It's a free to play action strategy game. So, and I wouldn't say it looks overly visually impressive. So it's maybe an interesting match there in terms of what they're asking them to do. But obviously, I mean, PlayStation has a lot of success with the studios they seem to bring in, and they haven't really had a lot of misses in the first party in terms of like being able to do quality work. So I imagine that it's going to be hopefully a successful partnership. Hopefully they do some good work on Ragnarok, and then they're able to maybe prove that they can start their own, the own first party game for PlayStation.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, this is a studio I'm not really familiar with, and like God of War is such a big game too. It's not like it's being brought in to work on like, something a little smaller scale. Like Ragnarok is like the big game coming out, so we'll see. But hopefully this is a sign that it's just going to be, massive, ambitious, and wonderful, and not, oh God, we're struggling. We have to put this game out at some point.
Yeah, I don't get that impression
So,
at all. And actually,
yeah.
you know what? I'm just reading through this article now. This is over at Game Rant, by the way, not to, what's it called? Plagiarize and not give credit here. But they were saying how actually Valkyrie worked on, they supported for Aliens Fireteam Elite, which is a game, as people who listen to the show know, that I played earlier in the year and I actually had a lot of fun with. So obviously they have some kind of chops. That game I think was better than the reception has been for it. So nice. Maybe
how pretty was the game? Were the environments?
Do you know what? The environments were a good part of that game. I think they honestly the scope wasn't big. I remember like when I was talking about it, the game doesn't necessarily have tons of variety and it's not a big game in terms of environments, but what it does, it fits the tone really well. Like it felt like Alien to me. It felt like you're on that isolated kind of ship. There's the thin little corridors, everything has that weird, moist, alien looking film over it. Like the environments were actually one of the better parts of that game, I think. So props to Valkyrie. Maybe this is like an all-star low key pickup.
Okay, well, you've got me excited. I'm tending towards this is a positive thing. I don't know how moist I want God of War to be. Definitely will have some good boat sections, I'm sure. But overall, maybe we want some dry sections as well.
I think so. We have one more PlayStation story for the show here today, Kate. We're going pretty quick through these things, but you know what? Sometimes the news is the way it is, right? But PlayStation has launched an accessibility website for the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. This is over at Push Square. And I think this is just a trend we're seeing a lot over the games industry the last little bit is, the continued conversation about accessibility and how important it is. And obviously it's very important in, things that aren't games too, but specifically for games, as obviously we're talking about here is, the conversation I think has really been growing over the last few years, and seeing PlayStation themselves come out with, their own site and acknowledge it on this way. Like it's because before it was just, if games put it in, every individual game has what they have for accessibility, but now the platform itself is a whole website coming out, to support players of all different abilities. And I think it's just great to see, honestly.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And so how it works, because I've been kind of looking through it this morning, is it seems like they've got like you can go to any individual game that you want to look at. So say you want to check out like Returnal or check out like, Spider-Man, Ghost of Tsushima, whatever. You can click on it and it gives you like a drop down of all the different like customization options that might be there. So stuff like, like colorblind modes and like audio controls and like different subtitling options and like difficulty options, like quick time events. Like it's pretty like it's got quite a few different things, and some of them get pretty like niche, and so it seems like it's got a lot of like a very detailed breakdown, and then it will tell you what that game offers in terms of what that is. So you like maybe you really need like colorblind stuff, or maybe you're concerned about certain audio cues or whatever, and so you can just go on whatever PlayStation game you're considering buying, and you can just find out all the information, exactly what it has, and it'll do like a breakdown, like a bullet point list of all the things that are relevant to that section. What I also like too is if it doesn't have it, it says it's not available, which is good. You don't have to be guessing. And so this just seems like a huge quality of life, because like obviously for most people you don't think twice about this kind of stuff, but if you're someone who can only play games if they have certain features, I'm sure this is a hell of a lot more convenient than having to like do your own research and look stuff up. And if you can't find anything on Google, like what do? You take a guess with the game. So this just seems like it takes a lot of the questions out of if it's going to be a purchase that is going to fit with you. So I think this is really cool to see.
Yeah, I think so too. My questions kind of come in, and this is an area that I don't use a lot of these features in games. Very rarely I'll turn on, one or two things here and there, but it's interesting it's highlighting stuff that's within each game. But I think the overall problem with accessibility is still, at the end of the day, it comes down to that the game developers have to put a lot of these functions into their game. Like something like this site isn't going to necessarily improve the accessibility. It just makes it easier to determine like what features are in a certain game. And so, and then also like console wise, I guess you can change like the console's like base text as far as like the UI of the console and the screen reader for the console, but game to game, I guess it's still very, very much up to the developers and what they include. So I just hope that, you know, PlayStation kind of as one of the biggest brands, including this now is kind of gives pause to a lot of developers that maybe aren't focusing as much on accessibility and just you know, seeing it become more of a priority in terms of what they include and what they put their time into, because I mean it should only be improving on what it is now. Like we're never going to go backwards in terms of accessibility. It's only going to go forward. So that's good to see, and let's hope that every game continues to push forward, make some progress. Kate, that's the PlayStation news we have for the week. It's been, you know, it's Christmas time. There's not a lot going on. There's not a lot of presentations, or, I mean, we just had the Game Awards. Obviously, that was the one big last thing, except for that it wasn't, because when we're talking about game events, of course, there was one more thing that's happened this year, and it wasn't Nintendo Indie World Direct. Now we'll get into the non-PlayStation news. Nintendo has a long history. They do a lot of Indie Worlds throughout the year, kind of show off some of the stuff coming to Switch. Some of it's new, some of it's stuff we've seen before on other platforms. But I guess instead of recapping the whole thing, just because it's not really a PlayStation focused thing, I thought we could go through and just chat about one or two things that stood out to each of us. So I'll let you start off. What stood out to you?
Okay, I think this overall, I'm going to say, was a really good presentation. I always love watching the Nindies. Like,
Yeah.
it's just a blast. Like, just some really colorful, cute, fun games. There were a few things that stood out to me. One of them, the main one here I've got is Locomotive. Have you saw that game? So this is really cute. It's Chucklefish is the developer. They're the same team that did Wargroove, which was that kind of like tactics sort of style game, which I actually really enjoyed, and I played on Switch. It was probably one of my favorite Switch games I've played. So I like it. It's kind of like a murder mystery kind of game, like a point and click sort of adventure, and you're solving a whodunit, you know, kind of Paper Mario style on the train. But what's really cute about this one, exactly. What's cute about this one though is it's called Locomotive, and you're on a train, and so it's kind of wacky, and so it's loco, and you're trying to figure out
like what's the locomotive,
the motive for the murder, and so. You know, that is some 10 out of 10 marketing, and I'm all on board for this one. You could say.
I agree. All on board. Oh my God.
The other one that I want to shout out, and I think this is a game I believe is already out, or it's like you're just being announced for Switch. But this is Grime. It doesn't sound very pleasant.
Grime, yeah.
But yeah, that's another one of those like. Yeah, it came out in August of this year. It's like one of those 2D Souls games, but I've heard good things about it. It's got a really neat art style. The dash looks super cool. So it's getting points in my book, but it's cool to see that kind of stuff come to Switch.
Yeah, absolutely.
Movies I could pick up and play. But yeah, those are kind of the two things that stood out to me. I've got a game on here I think you'd like.
Oh, well, I mean...
So let's just see what you are going to say.
Sea of Stars is by far the one for me. Now, that's the one you had for me?
That's exactly. The second I watch it, James is going to like this.
Yeah.
I know what it looks really cool. I love the moon-sun kind of dichotomy and using like elements based off of that. It looks gorgeous. It's kind of got that like 3D, 2D kind of style that's getting popular with turn-based RPGs. But I think this is a game I would have really loved, but I've gotten less into that genre as the years go by.
I know.
And so
it's too bad. It's too bad. It's a shame.
Yeah, it's a shame. It does look like a good one though.
Yeah, well, I mean, I played The Messenger earlier. I think it was last year at some point when I played that, and I had a blast with The Messenger. That's a tough game, but the thing is that like the music and the writing, like it was a funny story for something that I wasn't expecting, and it's like that's just a tough platformer, right? Like they don't usually have a whole lot of story to them. I really enjoyed The Messenger for that. And of course, like the art style is just amazing. And so this game being from the same developer, it is a completely different genre for them, but it's a prequel in terms of the story to The Messenger. And so I think that you know, it's kind of similar to like Judgment in terms of Yakuza, where it's like same universe but just a different take on it. And so I couldn't be more excited for Sea of Stars. I honestly think that that we've seen it a couple times, and it just keeps moving up my list of like, man, I need to play this right away when it comes out. I just can't wait. And just there's something comforting about looking forward to games that are from a developer who released something else that you really like. Like Sea of Stars looks great on its own, but the fact that it's also from a developer where I enjoyed their first thing, Sabotage Studio, I believe, it just makes you have that little bit more confidence, right, to look forward to something on day one.
Yeah, and it's kind of neat to see them do something different too, because it's the same kind of experience I had like looking at Locomotive. Like, I thought it was a cute game just in its own right, but knowing that it was Chucklefish, the Wargroove developers, I was like so impressed with Wargroove. I loved it. As like kind of like a Advance Wars kind of like a modern take on an Advance Wars kind of tactics game. But like this is totally different. That one was a really like the depth of strategy kind of game, whereas Locomotive is very much like you kind of like a point and click adventure story sort of thing with like probably more like puzzles. So it's kind of neat to see a team take on a totally different project and see like what kind of stuff from the original game transferred through, and like what kind of ideas are just totally brand new for them.
Yeah, right. Or did they have some cool ideas that weren't able to be implemented in their previous design, and now they've been sitting on something really cool, and they can make a whole game around that. Like that's a cool concept to me. The other one I wanted to shout out quickly was Chicory, and that's not a new game in terms of like, it's not brand new to the industry, but coming to Switch, I think Chicory seems really at home on the Switch. It seems like the kind of thing that you'd want to play, and I think that if they have any kind of touchscreen controls like for the coloring and whatnot, I think that would be very preferable for a lot of people. And like for me, like I don't use a lot of touch stuff on the Switch, but I from what I understand, Chicory is kind of focused on taking your time and doing that kind of thing. So I mean, it seems like maybe one of the rare instances where that might be the best way to play it. I mean, I guess PC is different, but
yeah. Well, you make a good point, because when it showed up there, I was confused for a second, because I always thought Chicory was a Switch exclusive, and that I realized that wasn't based off of any actual information I'd found, but just because, like you said, it is like a quintessential Switch game. Like it is the kind of thing like I would never expect it to not be a like Nintendo Indies kind of thing. It's so right at home and such a like a cute, colorful, quirky game. So yeah, I think if you haven't picked it up, like this is definitely a like wait and get it on Switch kind of game.
Yeah, I mean, aside from that, I wouldn't say a whole ton stood out for me. That game, Amori, I think people are kind of relating it to like kind of being similar to Earthbound. And so that has me interested just in terms of the concept, but I can't say that I really love the art. Like it's kind of that weird Angela Anaconda style, like paper kind of, I hate Angela Anaconda, so.
Oh, it was terrible. It was very unpleasant. So Amori looks a hell of a lot better than that though, to be fair.
For sure. But it's these are the kind of games where we always say like, keep your eye on them, right? Like they're the kind of indies where like any one of these could come out and start getting like 10 out of 10 reviews, and then all of a sudden you're like, I need to try this out.
Yeah, and this is the kind of stuff that makes me wish Nintendo did better sales, because like these kind of games are like they're on my list, but they're not necessarily the highest on my list, and so it's tough when they're like $30-$40 and competing with games I'm gonna play for 70-80 hours, and they go on sale for the same amount, versus like I do want to have those nice like relaxing indie experiences. Sometimes they're the best gaming experiences, but it's hard to justify sometimes buying a game you're going to play for 5 hours at the same kind of price. And so like and especially when like, well, I can get it on Steam for $5 in like 10 months.
Sure.
But like it would be nice to have it on Switch. So that's always the conflict I have when I watch these kind of showcases, is like, oh, I would love to get it on Switch, but like, am I realistically going to buy it?
That's the thing, right? That's like games in general. That's like a bigger conversation in and of itself. Like we'll have to have a conversation about like price of games and that type of thing at some point, maybe in the new year as a feature topic. But let's move to our next story, Kate. We got one or two more to get through here. And this one is just interesting in terms of the industry in general. Splinter Cell is supposedly going to be making a comeback. This is over from GameSpot where I'm pulling the article, but it's been over a decade, I think, since they actually had like a proper Splinter Cell game coming out. And Splinter Cell, of course, goes back with kind of the Metal Gear era of the original kind of 3D stealth genre in gaming. And so to see it coming back is something I think people have wanted for quite a while. I know Sam Fisher has been put in a couple random mobile games and like other kind of knockoff things, and every time it's like, why are they just not making a new Splinter Cell? So I think he was in Division 2 and stuff like that. So I mean, I've not had too much experience with Splinter Cell aside from one game on the 360, which, to be fair, was an amazing couch co-op experience that I had a lot of fun with. But yeah, what's your history with Splinter Cell? Are you excited? Will you try it out? Yeah.
My history is very minimal. I can't say that this personally does anything for me. This is probably the kind of game where if a friend wants to play it, we'd probably have a really good time playing it co-op. Because I know that's one of the cool things about Splinter Cell, but I don't see myself ever going down that route alone. But I'm definitely glad it's here. It's always cool to see a big franchise come back and, get a second chance, because people are so fond of them, and it's a shame to just see kind of characters get chucked in the wasteland to die. And so this is good, but like Sam Fisher, he's a sneaky guy. He's been hiding out all this time. It totally
he's had his
sense.
arms pressed along the hallway for like standing up there.
That's right.
For like 10 years.
That's right.
He's been waiting.
Right. He's been down the hallway, just right before the bathroom this whole time, just up on the roof. You never look. But yeah, funny. This is exciting news at the very least.
Yeah, I think the article points out, I mean, they actually, along with this announcement of the game being in development, posted about come join our team over at Ubisoft and help us make this game. So I think it's going to be quite a long time until we actually see anything of substance from this. So it's kind of interesting that they would announce this, right? Because, I mean, the timing of it just seems kind of strange. Like, this is the kind of thing, if you wanted a big thing for the Game Awards, or like the next time they do a Ubisoft Forward, I just wonder why they didn't save, one of their most iconic franchises to bring back for kind of a show like that. And instead it just sort of comes out as like a one-off random announcement in the end of December. Like, it's just kind of strange. I feel like this could have been a really big like hype moment at one of those type of events. And so that's kind of confused me a little bit, like the announcement of this. But I guess I think it was maybe leaking online. Maybe they just wanted to get out ahead of it, and the timing that's just the way it worked out. I'm not too sure. But it'll be interesting to see what this game ends up being, because they said it's a remake of the first one. But I don't know.
Oh, okay. It's not a brand new.
No, it's not a brand new one. But I think they're kind of changing it around. Maybe adding some open world type stuff to it. I think I heard some people talking about that. So it'll be. I'm interested to see, like, is this going to be a Ubisoft game where you climb the tower and unlock points on the map and find collectibles all over, or is it going to be more focused and more like levels like you'd expect out of something like a Splinter Cell? So I wonder what direction they're going to take it.
Yeah, you make a good point. I didn't realize it was kind of building off the first game, but yeah, you never know with Ubisoft. Every now and again, it seems like they crank out some really big, like, innovative, like, exciting new games. Like, I think they did, like, I know some of the Assassin's Creed games people have liked, and I know that, I think they did, what's it called? Phoenix, right? They did Immortals Rising. I believe that's a Ubisoft
is it?
game.
Yeah, it might be. I mean, they have so many studios.
Correct, right?
They're such a big publisher. Like, they publish a lot of different stuff. But I think that, so, yeah, I think
it's always kind of a very mixed bag with Ubisoft. Sometimes they put out like absolute gems, and like, there was that one game.
Well, they do Just
Dance. On the name. They do Just Dance. Like, that's pretty cool. There was that one game I played, Valiant Hearts.
That was a good one. Yeah.
Game. I loved that game. And so sometimes they put out these like really different and unique games, and other times it's like, all right, go back up on the tower, take a look around. So yeah, you kind of flip a coin on Ubisoft. So yeah, fingers crossed that it lands, tails, heads. I don't know which one's better, but
whichever one has the 3 green lights on it and Sam's mask.
That's right. Maybe heads on that one then. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Kate, this brings us to the end of the show, except for, as we always end with, it is the lighter side. It is a fun, feel-good story for the day. And people know that listen to the show. I'm a big hockey fan. And so when I came across some Halo Infinite hockey gear online, I just had to throw it in there and make it the story for today. So there's a lot of Halo Infinite kind of merchandise that's been coming out in terms of Xbox stuff. But I think the winner of all of it is there is an official set of Halo Infinite goalie pads, which look like it's got the green helmet with the yellow Master Chief visor, and then the pads and the blocker and stuff for the goalie. They look like Master Chief's legs, like the armor says Bauer all over it. It actually looks pretty cool. Like I don't know how cool you would look wearing this to play hockey, like with your team's jersey and kind of this. It's kind of cheesy, but at the same time, like in these pictures online, it looks cool. And so, I mean, I would love to win this.
Yeah, this is genuinely adorable. I think it goes for like, they're saying that the estimated retail value of it is like just under $5,000 as well. So it's not a bad thing to buy. I personally think it looks absolutely ridiculous, but like in the best way possible. Yeah, I don't know if it would get me playing hockey.
No.
I also hope that it would come in my size. I worry that it won't. But I love these dumb crossover things because there are every now and again someone like you that's just as big as a Halo fan as he is a hockey fan, and
man, I'm a way bigger hockey fan than Halo. Come on,
yeah,
I'm on Nick.
Okay. That's true. We got to win this for Nick.
But you know, the best thing about this thing is that usually these contests, US only. And as people know, we're a Canadian show. This is actually all North American contest. So I can enter from Canada, and you bet your ass I'm going to enter, because when I win these pads, I'm going to wear them on a podcast and it's going to be fantastic.
Don't tell me, just show up one day.
I'll wear my $5,000 set of goalie pads. Oh my God. Crazy. Oh man. Okay. Well, I think that's it for the show. Nice and short and snappy today, which is nice. I know we had a really long award show about the Game Awards last time, and we'll probably have a long show next week as well with our Circles and Squares Awards. So we'll end this one here just about the half an hour mark. Again, thank you everyone for listening and joining in. We will be getting back to listener mail as well. I know we can kind of say that every time, and we haven't done it. I feel like we probably won't do it again next week just because we have the awards show going on, lots to talk about. But starting again in the new year, we will be listening, or we won't be listening. We will be answering listener mail on every single one of the Circles and Squares podcast shows.
What we might do, I think, what could be fun is ahead of time, if we post on Twitter some of our categories, they're going to be mostly the same categories as we did last year, maybe a rotating category or not for our personal awards. But if you guys want to write in games that you are giving awards to, and if we get some interesting picks, that might be fun to read to close out next week's show. But then obviously if you have any other normal comments, questions, just funny stories, those are always awesome. We can stockpile them, and we will definitely get back to that soon. TM.
We will. It's a promise. It's a when, not an if. So we'll leave it at that. Of course, if you wanted to get in touch, that email address is circlesandsquarespod@gmail.com. Or you can just get us on Twitter as well, @CNSPod. Of course, all those links are below wherever you're watching this. And as always, I just want to say thank you again for everyone listening, all the support and love. We really appreciate it. And we will see you again in 1 week's time for the final show of 2021, the Circles and Squares Awards. So look forward to that, and we'll see you on the next one.